It's not regressions, it's not sell highs, it's me doing rage baiting, engagement baiting. That's all the show is. So let's start. Derek Queen sucks. Who cares if he had a triple-double? He's one of the worst players I've ever seen, and the Pelicans killed themselves for the future by drafting this spud. Vooch, he's about to get cut. He's that bad. He'll lose the starting spot. He'll get cut. He'll be playing down in Australia next season. Oh yeah, and Stephon Castle, well, I think that you just do better by having Alonzo Trier. And that is why I stand by my second round comment. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I figured out why hot dogs come in packets of 10 and why hot dog buns come in packages of 8. It's so that Derek Queen can have 2 extra turnovers. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms, and we're part of the number one sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network. So thank you for pushing us there to number one. All right. What we are actually doing on this show is, as per usual, we're doing a show looking at sell highs. Do you have to trade away? No. Can you just enjoy what's happening? Absolutely. Did I find 6 players that I think are worth discussing because I think some of their numbers are elevated and they are going to fall off? Yes. So whether that is you trading them away at a good price, whether that is you having them on your team and going, okay, that's great, but we're going to see a drop-off, or being aware if someone goes to trade you this player that you might be a little skeptical of some of the numbers. And I'm ready to fight you on all these guys. I'm going to fight everyone. I'm in a fighting mood. Let's fight. As you tell me that all of this stuff is going to hold. It won't. Feel pretty confident about it. But that's okay. That's why we discuss all of the individual reasons and the individual things that are going on with all these players. But before we do that, before we get into talking about the sell high players for week 8, we're going to look at how we did 2 weeks ago, which was week 6? Yeah, week 6 is when we were doing that. And let's have a look at how those sell highs played out. Number 1 on the list for that show was Desmond Bane. We were talking about the fact that Bane was doing the thing. He was getting his usage up, his minutes up, his efficiency way up, and he was putting up big numbers, and I said Paolo is going to return. And Paolo did return. Bane's gone from 32nd. He's down to 61st. Now there is going to be an absence here of Franz Wagner. We'll see what happens. But that's a drop-off. Andy Nembhard was shooting the absolute lights out. He was 56th. Since then, he is 98th. More reasonable for him. Superman, the most obvious one of all time, he was 23rd. He is 99th now. I think that there's a reality where he gets to the top 80, but as we've seen when this team is healthy, there's a lot of fluctuation and variability in what he does. The next one, interesting, Ryan Rollins. He was 61st, and I said, I think he's probably going to drop off because Kevin Porter will be back. And then Kevin Porter did come back and he dropped off, and basically immediately after that, Giannis went down. So Rollins is 69th. So giggity, but he's fallen off marginally, but not really. And the Giannis stuff all came out after this. The injury, then the trade stuff, and all that sort of stuff. So he may not end up being that much of a sell high. Nickeil Alexander-Walker somehow got better. I still maintain that this is a sell high. But like we said when we do all of these, if you're doing sell highs or regressions, you have to take short-term pain. So Alexander-Walker was 40th. He is 35th since then. So obviously that's an L. But I'm very certain if we look back at this when Trae Young returns in a couple of weeks, that Alexander Walker is not going to be anywhere near this number. He very much could still be rosterable, because who's the guy that's starting at small forward? Le Crayon.
Le Crayon.
Yeah, Zach Russo says terrible. So Alexander Walker could easily play 30 minutes. But as you're going to see when we talk about some of the other players on this list today, it's not always just about the minutes. Sometimes it's role. Or a lot of the time it is role. Role is as important, or maybe slightly less important than overall minutes. And we're going to talk about how all that impacts these players when we talk about sell high options, guys that are going to regress. And let's go straight to Portland and let's talk about Deni Avdija, who he has been incredibly good this season. I had him incredibly high. in my preseason fantasy rankings. He has done more in the last 12 months to improve my perception of him as a player than almost any player in the NBA. Honestly, he has improved to me at such a high level. I still don't think that what is currently happening at the moment is a rest of season expectation. And I'll explain what I mean. He is the 15th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. It's ridiculously good. He's averaging 53 fantasy points. Obviously unbelievably good. I think he's more of a 45 fantasy point guy. I think for category leagues, he can be a top 25 guy. So that might not seem like a difference, 15th to 25th. But it is. Look at his numbers. He's averaging 29 a game with 9.5 boards and almost 9 assists. He's shooting 51 and 78 from the line during that time and 40% from three. Some of these things just aren't likely to hold. The 68% true shooting, 40% from three, I don't believe in that. His free throws, people got really mad that I said that he'd had a down stretch of free throws and it was becoming a problem. Well, what do you mean? He shot 90% the other day. Yeah, he did. And he also had some games where he shot 65%. And before yesterday's game, or the last time he played, I think his free throw percentage was at 76% on gigantic volume, which is a negative. But overall, for the season, his free throws have been good. They've been good. But they had dropped off. Anyway, all that this is to say, there are certain things that are happening with Deni at the moment, and I can't tell you that it's 100% related to this, but I can give you numbers. That Jrue Holiday is creating this opportunity for Deni to elevate to this level. Now again, do not get up in arms. I'm not saying the only reason Deni Avdija is good is because Jrue Holiday is out. Not at all. As you can see, I have Deni ranked 21st rest of season. What I'm saying is that the fact that the assists and the free throw rate are so high is largely a Jrue Holiday absence cause. Not to mention Scoot. Why is that? Well, in the games that Deni Avdija has played without Jrue Holiday in them, he averages 8.2 assists per 36 minutes. In the minutes that he has shared alongside Jrue Holiday this season, Deni Avdija averages 4.3 assists per 36 minutes. That is, for the astute of you out there, about half. That is a sizable difference. Sizable difference. Deni Avdija, in the games without Jrue Holiday, is averaging 11.5 free throw attempts per 36. In the minutes with Jrue Holiday, he is averaging 7.1. None of this is to say that's because Jrue Holiday is taking all the free throw attempts or all the assists. It's because the role is different. Deni is the primary point guard. And Deni is using his position as the primary point guard to drive like an insane person every single game, in a good way. So he's drawing a million free throws and he's dishing assists. And when Jrue is there, he just won't be 100% of the time on ball. And then when Scoot comes back, he will not be 100% of the time on ball. So the free throw attempts will drop. The assists will drop. I think the rebounds will drop a little bit as well because his role will be somewhat different. The scoring will drop. I think the shooting will drop from three. And he's still going to be awesome. But if you can cash in on this incredible run from Deni, you do it. If you can get you might be able to get like a first roundish player back. You might not, but you might. Or if you've got him and someone's offering a trade, be aware that there are things that are very highly correlated that are causing the surge in Avdija's production, which are related to the absence of Jrue Holiday. It's not an entire thing, but they have happened very specifically when Jrue Holiday has been out. And that's what when we talk, it's not vibes based here. We're not going, well, I don't think Deni can be 15th. He can only be 20th. It's not that. These are what I think the numbers will do and how they will be impacted and why I think they will be impacted. And then we'll see where that goes. We'll come back with more of these sell high regression candidates coming up. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by Mint Mobile. You know, there is no reason to let big wireless drain your wallet, especially during the holidays. And right now, Mint Mobile is running their best deal of the year. All of their unlimited plans are 50% off, and that means that you can lock in 3, 6, or even 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. It's the easiest way to take your overpriced phone bill and give it the full Scrooge treatment. What makes this even better is how simple Mint makes the switch. No contracts, no nonsense, just real savings and real quality service. Set up with Mint only takes a few minutes. You can bring your own phone and number without any issue, and the service is fast and super reliable, even on the go. So turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That is mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months, plan required, $15 per month equivalent, taxes and fees, initial plan term only, greater than 35GB, may slow when network is busy, cable device required, availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. All right, we're talking buy lows, regression candidates, however you want to phrase it, and this is going to get a different group of people upset, this one, because I'll preface all of your arguments, but Jaylen Brown is a sell high. Jaylen Brown is a sell high. And I know what you're going to say. Yeah, you shit on the Celtics all year. You think they're going to be terrible. Hey, you said they were going to be tanking. But look, they're not. They're not tanking. Look, you said it, but they're not. Okay. They are currently, unbelievably, the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. They have been so much better than I thought they were going to be, especially of late. They are 1 game ahead of 9th spot in the Eastern Conference. They're on 15 wins. The Hawks and the Cavs are on 14. The Sixers actually on 13 wins. And they're in the 7th seed. So, okay, we are not talking big differences here. But this sell high argument on Jaylen Brown doesn't even have to do with that. I still think that there is a chance that there is injury concerns with him, who has not been really healthy the last year or so, and that they might actually just become bad. And I have changed my stance on them being a play-in team at least. I think they can do that, but I'm not ruling out what's going to happen in 2 months' time. But none of that's even got to do with what I talk about with Jaylen Brown, as I realize the screen doesn't even look right. I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to have to go fix that. At least it looks better there. I'll fix it up later. Jaylen Brown. He is the 5th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. I think that he's not going to be the 5th ranked player. He's averaging 55 fantasy points. I think he's a 45 guy, around that mark. So what's going on? Well, one thing that's happened with Jaylen Brown this season that I didn't expect to be the case is his usage is absolutely through the roof. I'm talking Luka Doncic level of usage, 38% type usage, right? Which is just not a number that's going to be able... let me rephrase. That's not a number that I thought was going to be the way that they distributed things. So that part of Jaylen Brown for this season, I got wrong, right? We'll see where it holds, but maybe it does stick at this absolutely crazy level that it's at. It's at 36% for the season, Jaylen Brown, and his usage. But at the moment, things are out of control. He's averaging 32 points a game over the last 2 weeks. 8 rebounds and almost 7 assists with almost 2 steals. Shooting 82 from the line and 41 from 3. So what about what Jaylen is doing do I find unsustainable? Well, there's quite a bit, actually. The 82 from the line, this guy has been 76, 70, and 76 the last 3 seasons. And he's actually only at 78 this season. So there's a drop in free throws coming. 41% from 3, I don't buy it. 32, 35, 34, last 3 years. He's at 36 this season. So we're on a real hot streak. And again, I'm not even just comparing this stuff to what was happening last season. It's just comparing it to what he's done in his career and what he's actually done this season. We're just in an incredible 2-week sort of hot streak here from Jaylen Brown. His steal numbers, 1.2, 1.2, 1.1. This season, 1.1. Last 6 games, 1.8. All right. So Jaylen Brown, he's not fully doing the thing because he's not taking on extra minutes or usage. He's just putting everything up at the same time. Assist numbers up from 5 this season to 6.7. Rebounds up from 6 to 8. All right. Block numbers doubled in the last 2 weeks. Nearly every category you're going, that's just way above everything. The only one that's not is his field goal percentage, which is down from 49.6 to 47.2. But in saying that, what's to say he's even a 49 guy this season? Moving forward, because he's never been that level efficient. And he's shooting 54% on long twos. Not a number that's going to hold. So while Brown is cooking, he's putting up unbelievable numbers. Any of this sell-high regression talk, it's not even about worries about the risk of a full shutdown happening, which, again, my chances of that happening have reduced significantly. I think it's only a small chance now. I also don't think they're as good as the 3rd seed, but whatever. It's about the fact that free throws, 3-pointers, steals, blocks, rebounds, assists, 3-pointers made, and scoring, I think, are all going to come down. And they're going to come down decently enough that's going to drop him 2 to 3 rounds of value, I'm guessing. 10 fantasy points. So, if somebody believes Jaylen Brown's a top 10 guy because they see the Celtics in the 3rd seed and they see Brown putting up these huge numbers and leading the team at all points, which is all true, give it up, man. Get a first rounder back. I would do that, no hesitation. This one is obvious, but I do want to point it out. It's Kevin Porter Jr., and I'm not sure that anyone buys into it. And that's part of the problem with sell highs, isn't it? It's such a delicate balance, such a dance of like, man, this guy's great, I don't want him. And like if someone does that to you, your immediate reaction should be, what? Why don't you want him? So that smells. That stinks. What are you trying to do to me? Right? So that's why sell highs are very hard to do. But we can look at Kevin Porter, and he is one of those guys. And I know that a lot of his cousins watch this show. A lot of his relatives. His uncles even. A lot of them, they all watch this show. And they're all very passionate about the ability that this guy has. And Giannis is never going to play again for the Bucks, and Porter's going to continue to do this. And I'm here to tell you he's not. Very straightforward, he is not. He's the 8th ranked player. Yep, the 8th ranked player this season. He's averaging 45 fantasy points. He's averaging 24, 4, and 6.5 over the last couple of weeks, or since he returned from injury. He is shooting 61% from 3. And you can just stop this segment here if you want. That's it, 61% from 3. That's it. You literally don't need anything more to figure this out. 61% from 3. He shot last season 31. The year before 37. He's not a good 3-point shooter. He's improved as a 3-point shooter, absolutely. But nobody is that shooter. He's also at 89% from the free throw line. The last time that he played, he was at 77. The time before that was 78. I'm going to go ahead and suggest he's probably not an 89% guy from the line. Will he also average 2.4 steals? No. Not even a single chance in hell that he does that. Will he hit 4 threes a game with 24 points? Also, no. I don't think so. Can he maintain 28 usage? Yes. Of course he can. And I'm saying this is I have got on all of my teams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 teams this season. I've got Kevin Porter on 5 of them. He is my most rostered player of anybody. But none of this stuff is sticking. None of this is real. The field goal percentage, the free throw percentage, the 3-pointers made, the steal numbers, the assist numbers they might be real, but that's probably it. In fact, the assists could even go up a bit from there. You can go to 7 a game easily. And it doesn't even matter to me. Look, we can talk about this and say this, and what if Giannis never plays again for the Bucks? Doesn't matter. These numbers are coming down. Even if Giannis doesn't play, because A, people would come back in a trade, but B, Giannis being there doesn't make him a 61% shooter or get 2.4 steals a game. None of that is real. So it's all coming down. So when you're looking at Porter though, like again, when I was drafting him at about pick 80. That's pick 70. That's the sort of area where I was looking at him because there was uncertainty as to what the starting and the rotation with him and Rollins would be. Now he's a top 50 guy to me. But he's not top 10 guy, he's not top 20 guy, he's not top 30 guy, I don't think. So I'd be willing to move off of him to get somebody that's a little bit more secure because this guy's already had 2 injuries this season as well. And to call him somewhat unpredictable might be an understatement. There's just a lot that's happening here with Porter that is, again, the success of a sell high or convincing somebody of it, there's got to be a narrative portion. So you can look at that and go, he's this 8th ranked player. Yeah, you can look at that. And the immediate narrative that can be tied to it is Giannis is hurt, but he requested a trade. Maybe it's a fake injury and they're just going to hold him out until he gets moved. It's Porter's team now. Oh, it is. Yeah. NBA Central told me that. Heard it from Clutch Points. All right. Whatever it is, you can tie a narrative into it. Huge production at the same time of Giannis' absence and he will never come back to the team. Good. This stuff isn't real though. He's not holding these numbers. It's just not a thing that's going to be able to happen. I'm very, very confident in that. But when I say that, that is not saying that he won't be good. Because again, he is literally probably the player that I hate watching the most non-Cam Thomas division. And also the player that I've got on the most fantasy teams. Because despite the accusations, the bias that I have, which is literally just opinions, is just based on where I think players' values sit relative to expectations. Hence why I've got Porter on so many teams, yet I also don't like him as a player. Because the value is there. We'll come back to talk about more of these sell high guys today's episode. He's brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, and there are 48 teams in it for the first time ever. It's going to be massive. Huge countries like Jordan, Macedonia, and Curacao facing off against the world powers, the Australian team, Team Canada, and the other ones that are actually good. Let's be honest though, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch. It gives fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging those seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time. You get alerts when great seats open. You can buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and it makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pick a game, get in there, you tap a section and check and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for the fine print. Plus, the seat view feature is a game changer. You can literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert and event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, Game Time. We've got 3 more sell high regression type players that we want to talk about, and let's go to Brooklyn. And no, it's not that one. All I'm hoping that Michael Porter Jr. is selling is his podcast equipment. What we've got now is Noah Clowney. But I thought you liked him, Josh. I do. But it is a sell high for Noah Clowney for very specific reasons. He is the 88th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. That's really good. He's averaging 27 fantasy points. That's not a bad number. I think he can be sort of around there. I think that when they do tank, he'll be relatively immune from it. He is a young player and arguably their best prospect. You could argue whether it's him. You could argue whether it's Gelman. You could argue whether it's... Well, actually, you couldn't. It's probably just those two. All right, that's the argument. So I think he'd be relatively safe. Why do I think that you could look to cash in on Noah Clowney, who, admittedly, it's a hard thing to do because there are not that many people who view him that highly. There are some, but there are not that many. He's averaging 16 points with 3 threes a game. His other numbers, they're not good. Like 4 rebounds is bad. For a power forward, it's bad. 2 assists is not that good. 1 block is fine, but it's not awesome. Why is he a sell high? Well, he's just not going to maintain 45% from 3. He's not going to maintain 88% from the line. I'm just pretty confident in those things. As much as I like Noah Clowney, as much as he remains a must-roster player, and the reason, sometimes, again, to talk about a thing that people often will criticize or complain when I do in this show. They'll say, oh, Josh always keeps telling us how much Noah Clowney is a must-roster player. The reason I do that is because I see him sitting available in 80, 70% of leagues. But if I see someone that's rostered in 90% of leagues, I'm not going to go out there and tell you that they're a must-roster player because it's already happened. That doesn't need to be mentioned. And then it becomes discussing the player's ability relative to current expectations or what you're doing with that guy. So I can't go out and say this player shouldn't, he didn't do this and didn't live up to expectations, but he still remains better than, and list off 40 different player names. That's just not a realistic thing to do. The reason I mention I think you should be rostering Clowney is because he still isn't grabbed in many spots. And I like what Noah Clowney can do a lot. I just do not buy a lot of these things. The 3-point shooting, I don't buy it at that number. He's only at 36 for the season. It's not going to stick there. Could his volume hold? Yeah, probably. Why not? Could he shoot 4 free throws a game? Yeah, fine. But not at 88%. 81%? Maybe. And they're more reliable numbers. I think the 1 block a game is fine. The assists, maybe not. His rebounds could improve. They could, but that's not the worry here. He's playing at a really high rate because his field goal percentage is now up to 46%. And it's 41 for the year. And it's largely based on just really high level 3-point shooting. And I don't really buy the high level 3-point shooting staying at that level of highness. So Noah Clowney, if I could get a solid top 100 guy back, I would do it. And if I can't, I would just enjoy what's happening and realize there are going to be dips and slumps in the production. And that the 2 percentages there, the free throws and 3-pointers, are probably going to come back. And that has an impact on overall value of the player. Field goal percentage down, free throws down, scoring down, 3-pointers made down. Which will bring him back a decent amount. Who is the next guy that we're going to look at as a sell high? It's Collin Gillespie. Gillespie is, I don't know, he's a good player. He's a very good player. He started his career in Denver as a 2-way guy, broke his leg, We didn't really get to see much of him. Came back. He struggled quite a bit, I thought, in his summer league back, but that's coming off a broken leg. Now in Phoenix, I thought he had a really good season last season and showed that he is a legitimate, maybe starting caliber point guard, probably starting caliber point guard, but at least a high-level backup point guard. I have this guy on 2 of my teams. I really enjoy what he's doing. But at the moment, he is doing the thing. This is the thing. Because it's not only that his minutes per game are up because Devin Booker and Jalen Green are out, or it was Dylan Brooks out, or it was Ryan Dunn out, or it was Grayson Allen out. All of those things have happened. It's not just that. It's that at the same time, and this is what doing the thing is, his usage is up to 23%. He's a 20% usage guy for the season. Last season, he was an 18% usage guy, which I don't think he's going to remain as an 18% usage guy. I think he's going to get higher than that this season. But he's shooting in the time because these guys are out. So minutes up, usage up, hasn't missed a single free throw, and is shooting 46% from 3. That is the definition of the thing. He's taking 15 shots from the field per game. He's hitting 4.3 triples per game. He's averaging 20 points per game. I don't believe that any of that is Collin Gillespie. We also have seen that when it was just Jalen Green that was out, bro was playing 24 minutes off the bench and not rosterable. We don't have to make a decision that he's not rosterable until much later on. Now, he's a 38th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 32 fantasy points. These are unbelievably good numbers. But I think you'd be kidding yourself that you got a guy off waiver wires who's this good, but didn't realize that the 2 highest usage players on the team are just not playing, who happen to play the same position that he plays. And it's just not going to allow him to take that many shots, play that many minutes, and then the shots that he does take, they're not going in at this rate. There are just way too many things to fall off here. And if anyone believes in him as a top 80 guy rest of season, you should trade him to that person and feel good about it. Because there's just too many factors here. And that's one of those things. I think there's a little bit of that in Cleveland, is that we go, oh yeah, but they're healthy. But we forget that their starting small forward from last season hasn't played a single game. And I don't know that Max Strus is going to play huge minutes or be anything like that this season. He probably isn't. But we also, in Phoenix, we look at their team and then we forget that Jalen Green's played 1 game with 50 usage in it, but he played 1 game. And he's going to come in and start eventually when he's back. He's going to come in and he's going to put Collin Gillespie into a smaller role. It's just going to happen. So we just got to be cautious. And there could be scenarios where 2 guys are out for a long period of time. And Gillespie will step up. We know this. It's just about what is the value likely to hold at when we get into a more reasonable scenario. And it's not holding at this number because, and even if he did continue this role at 32 minutes with 23 usage, he wouldn't be this good anyway. Because he's not going to hit every free throw. He's not going to shoot 46% from 3. He's not going to score 20 points with over 4 threes a game. That is just not going to happen. So there are multiple ways. Minutes, usage, shooting, all can drop. Usage, all can drop to create cascading ranking drops. And I believe that'll happen to Gillespie. So, I've got one more to talk about. And it's the 9-cat fluffer. You know what I mean by this. It's the sort of person that when you're doing trade talks with, you target someone in your league or that you know about that really does value the on-site, on wherever app you're playing on, the rankings that are provided. The straight 9-cat guys. The guys that will tell you about the value of a guy and where he's currently ranked and how good it is. And where you can exploit that. And that's where we talk about Davion Mitchell. Because Davion Mitchell, over the last 2 weeks, has a ranking number that seems unfathomably high. 93rd. You go, that's not that high. It is, though. In a standard 156-player deep 12-man league, that's in the top 2/3 of players. It's in your top 8 guys. 93rd ranked guy. In that time, this man is averaging 7.8 points, 0.8 threes, 2.2 rebounds, 9.4 assists, a gigantic number, 1.2 steals, not a single block, 52% from the field, 75% from the line, 44% from 3. Using the rankings that I have developed to, I believe, more accurately model the value of a player in a head-to-head category league, he's 172nd. Now, I can look at this and go, 9.4 assists from Davion Mitchell is unbelievably good. It's very useful to have. 1.2 steals is about average. It's slightly above average. That's okay. 52% is a really solid number, but it's on such low volume that it doesn't actually have that much of an impact. He's like a one category guy who is average at two others, and that's field goals and steals. And massively below average in many other areas. To me, that sort of player is not a top 100 guy. I'm not even saying that you should be dropping Davion Mitchell because A, they play in a game today, and those assists can be really valuable. But it's when we're talking about like exploitation of selling in trades and being cautious of accepting deals, having someone come back, showing that he's a top 100 player. Hey, look, even with Hero back, top 100, that you got to be cautious about. But yeah, but what do those numbers mean? Like, what does this value actually show me? Is he realistically the top 100, like the top 100 guy? Is that really a way that I should value what he does? Reference, I'll read you some names that in the last 2 weeks are ranked behind Davion Mitchell for a 9K value. Ivica Zubats, Emmanuel Quickly, Devin Booker. This is per game. What other names have we got here that are interesting? Benedict Mathurin, the GOAT, Nikola Vucevic, Armin Thompson, Jalen Duren, Jaren Jackson. I'm sure you'll agree with that one, actually. Who else is an interesting name? Giannis Antetokounmpo, LaMelo Ball, Keyshawn George, LeBron James, Dyson Daniels. Any other good names here? Con Canipple, the Big Areola. I can keep going. I won't, but I could, but I won't. But it just gives you an idea, right? That number, you can use it. You can use it to flip it into something better as a player. But it is entirely misleading as to the overall value that Davion provides, I think. And that is why he's your 9-cat fluffer. That'll bring us to the end of the show. Fight me. Fight me about how wrong I am on all these players being sell highs. But make sure you ignore all of the reasons that I gave. That's the best way to do it. And it's a good way to keep your head in the sand when evaluating the value of players on your team. Rage baiting. Guys, hit a subscribe, thumb up, bang, comment, all of that stuff. I hope you take it in good fun. I hope you take everything in good fun. See ya. Oh yeah, Sleeper sucks so much it must have been made by a Canadian.